Welcome to Dude Let's Draw. I'm your host Yoko, and today we're going to talk about how to commission a professional artist. And if you are interested in commissioning an artist, we will walk you through that as well. I also have a special guest with me who's a professional artist who does commissions all the time, Kittmouri. Say hi, Kittmouri.
Hi.
All right, let's get started.
Let's roll.
So, let's talk about commissions. Before I begin, my friend Kittmouri here, she's on the left-hand side of the screen. So, who are you? What are you about, my friend?
Who am I? That's an existential question, but I'll answer it in the capacity of an artist. I am a writer slash artist, or artist slash writer, depending on how I'm feeling in any given day. I do commissions, both illustrated and written. And I was originally based out of New York, and now I'm here farther south. But I'm a New Yorker at heart.
Cool. We love New York. We just love and miss it. Your character profile. Can you tell us about your character? Who are you guys? Your characters on.
Well, so I have a plethora of characters because I have a series. It's all under the umbrella of a planet that I created. It's just my idea of utopia. So all the characters from any given stage, either from Sweet Shop, from Lion Paws, from Bella Mariposa, all of them exist in the same universe. And so if you ask, like, what are my characters? They are anything from a girl who opened up a cafe in that she wanted to open with her mother who passed away, to a man who is a stoic carpenter who wants to, spread his wings and be his own person, but is constantly living in the shadows of his older brothers, to a butterfly and her honeybee companion that are just trying to survive. Because even though you would think that a butterfly and honeybee would be really cute, life as an insect is really hard, and it's just death, death, death. So yeah, it's I just run the gauntlet of character interactions and stories. Um, Anywhere from children's books to young adult to romance.
That's awesome. And you've been doing this for how long?
Um, Professionally, I think I started in 2005 when I started working for a small independent comic company called Shannon Fantasy Arts, and I was working with them on two of their mainline stories.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I remember you showing me some of the comics that you have created, and your art is phenomenal. It has always been
Thank you.
very inspirational to me, and I want to show people that you're anybody is capable if you put in not just the work, but you have been consistent and persistent. That's how I'm like you're the one. You're the one.
I'm not the one, I'm just a regular person like anybody else. I'm certainly not the best. There are people who are definitely have a higher talent as far as art and even writing. The trick is to run your own race and not to compare yourself to other people. To say, this person has better paint technique than I do, or the way they write is more smooth than I do. But this is where I am right now. What I'm doing right now is good, and I can do better. Just run your own competitor is yourself. So look at your work and say, hey, this is good, but next time I'll do even better. And
Yeah.
that's how you have to look at it. But
Very true. Very humble, my friend. My friend.
I'm gonna
We
try my best.
we met each other at a convention, right?
Lies. Dare you? No, we met each other at a meet and greet. Like it was in NY first. We met at one of those meetups
Oh
back
my
in the good old days.
gosh. I
Yeah.
forgot. I forgot a lot of things.
God. You see, this is why if we were married, I'd be so offended right now. I'd be like,
Honey,
did you forget you forgot how we first met? Oh my God.
our
This
anniversary.
relationship needed work.
You start you
Exactly. My
start
heart's
throwing
broken.
you start throwing your commemorative
I'm
Lion
gonna, I'm
King
gonna go
plate
buy a
at
bunch of
me.
cats. Exactly.
That's so funny.
We have some stories to tell. My goodness, the bidding wars we had
Oh
that we're
yeah.
bidding on the same thing. Like,
I
why are you
I
bidding?
know. I was thinking about that today. I was like, I wonder what happened to those tapes. Like, that's a story for another time, folks. But yeah,
It really is.
we've been
My
friends.
goodness.
We've been friends for so long. We were able to kind of not really trick people, but like when you weren't feeling well, I would say, "Yes, I'm Kittmouri," and help you because you were like you needed a break at one convention because
Oh
you
goodness.
were working
We are a whole
conventions.
entire mess.
Well, so I don't know how people couldn't tell us apart, really. I mean,
Well, that convention, I unfortunately had COVID. My niece and nephew were, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, at least we were able to, I was able to help you, and
Well, you know,
and I was like, you sit down, you eat, stop doing stuff. But that's a story, that's another story for another
yes,
time.
mom. Okay.
So, uh, my big question to you, do you remember uh, what got you started doing commissions or just like art in general? What would be easiest for you?
So what got me into art is that I was a kid and I just liked to draw. It was always an outlet to express creativity, and I enjoyed doing it. I like creating things. And my father he was always buying me art supplies, like big old pads of paper and paint. He enjoyed seeing me in it drawing and creating. And at first, I was doing things like drawing Ninja Turtles and Sonic the Hedgehog because those were some of my two favorite shows when I was a kid. But later on, I just kept with it. Eventually, I wanted to make my own characters and tell my own stories. I think my first story was Peanut Man, and I am not even kidding. He was just a anthropomorphic peanut who was trying to avoid the evil was it grinder. He it was like somebody basically who takes peanuts and makes them into peanut butter. He was trying to save peanuts from this guy because yeah, I don't know what his name was. I'd have to go dig through every piece of paper I have from that era. But yeah, that was my first foray into creating comics. And then later on, I made a story about two children that were enslaved, and they had to try to get out of that situation. And from there, after that, I decided to make. So I was really inspired by Wendy Penny, and she has a series called ElfQuest, and some
Oh,
of the characters are
yeah.
bonded to wolves. Yeah. And I loved wolves. So I was like, I'm gonna make my own wolf pack. So I made a pack, I think, of 20 wolves, gave them their own character designs, gave them their own personalities. And some of those characters still exist now, although
Hmm.
they've been repurposed for to more anthropomorphic characters as opposed to walking on 4 feet. They walk on 2 feet. One of the characters whose name is Knight is actually the husband of one of my other characters, my persona, who is a lioness named Nina, and they have 4 kids, two adopted and two are Knight's two younger brothers, and they are a blooded family, and I think that's sweet.
Oh, that is so
And as far as
cute.
everything else, thanks. As far as everything else, like yeah, after I worked for Shanda Fantasy Arts, they unfortunately went out of business. But there were a there was one character that I created for the series that I was able to keep and retain, and she went on to be the heroine in my romance novel. But prior to that, in one of my college courses, I ended up making just a different story about a group of anthropomorphic creatures that lived in the era of Native Americans and colonizers, and they end up being the protectors of the land because they have like spiritual powers and so on and so forth. Yeah, it pretty much started from it started from when I was a kid, just kept on going and kept on going because art never left me, and telling stories never left me either. So that's where that comes from,
See,
I suppose.
that's really cool. So, in terms of commissions, did you ever, because I know you've been drawing forever, did you order a commission first or did you ever draw for someone and get paid first?
So I am pretty sure I drew for someone first and then got paid for it. Although I
Wow.
will say the first commission I did, then this is a life lesson for all of you guys who are about to start. The first commission I did was for a person who said, whenever you tell someone I'm an artist, what the first thing they tell you, what is the first thing they ask you, Yoko?
How much is it? Or how long is it going to take?
No,
How long is it going to take, right?
no, 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 no.
Shoot.
when you tell someone I'm an artist, the first thing they always ask me, "Can you draw me?"
Oh,
And
that's right.
it's
Yep, you're right. Can you draw?
yeah,
And you're like,
it's
no.
it's inevitably the first thing. So there was one person who said, can I? And I said, well, not really. Like, I was like, not really. I don't really don't want to join you. He was like, oh, well, I'll pay you. I said, okay. So I drew the picture. He saw it, and it was since it was a lifelike illustration. He was like, oh, that doesn't look like me. My nose is too big. I'm like, that's not your nose. And and people are like, no, it looks just like you. But he was offended because his features were not cartoonish or like the anime-esque character I think he was hoping that would draw him as. And so he just said, I don't like it, just but didn't pay me. So I was like, oh, lesson learned. You always get at least half of your payment in advance. Never do a commission and expect to get paid full price after the work is done. Always get at least half of it up front.
Yes, that is super important. I also learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
And another thing,
Yeah.
like you talking about, hey, can you draw me because you're an artist? Like it just goes to show how conceited we are as people.
Yes.
And then expect
Yes.
to
And
see
yes.
and then expect to see a one-to-one look-alike when everybody sees each other differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could you could be handsome, but sometimes when somebody's drawing you, it's like, no, this is what you really look like. You ugly. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's just me being. Yeah.
Yeah, it's without even being these that people have a perception of themselves where they think like again like when you look at a like an animated character like you look at Belle from Beauty and the Beast. She is just a regular looking person, but they give her bigger eyes and fuller lips and just her facial features are designed to look very attractive. And so when you
Yes.
draw someone, they expect to look like that, and then they don't. You're like, well, like you look at the caricatures when you go like to Disney World or wherever, and you see the pictures of people they take the features that are most noticeable and accentuate them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that with a person who's like a regular person, you draw them without accentuation of features, it looks plain. And they don't like that. They want to look glamorous or gorgeous, or they want you to see them the way they see themselves. And we are not mind readers, we're not psychics. We just see what we see and then we just draw off of that. So that's also important when someone when you take commissions, people you'll have to ask them like, hey, what do you want? What kind of personality do you want right now? This commission. Do you want them to be happy, sad? Do you want is there anything where you have to change about your character? Get those things down before you start working on it because you'd be surprised how many people change something major in the middle of a commission and that's I guess we'll talk about that in a bit later because there's things to know about that too when that
Oh
happens
yeah.
if and when that happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like part of the list we're checking off here.
Yep.
So for I should have said this sooner, but like if you're watching this video, you probably know what a commission is. It's basically custom art made for you that you order from an artist and you pay, right? And what Kittmouri means by like, hey man, you got to pay for half. You are paying somebody who's living, breathing, they have electricity, they have bills. They have to calculate the time and energy they put into their work, which is something that we take for granted. And I think that's culturally a thing because other countries.
Well, art is meant to be this is how people rationalize it. Art is meant to be something that's shared freely and beautifully and you shouldn't charge people for sharing art because art should be something that everyone can enjoy and that of course is somewhat true but at the same time people this is the real world and people have bills to pay so if you're telling me I can draw and make people happy for a living then surely you can make me happy and compensate me for my time which is something I can't get back by by some fiduciary compensation here so never be gaslit by someone telling you that, oh, well, art's something you do for fun. Well, yeah, it's fun when I'm drawing for myself. When I'm drawing for the people, it can still be fun, but it's also a job. So therefore, you should be getting time work as time paid. So that's something that don't let people tell you otherwise. But they will try to tell you otherwise. So don't let them tell you.
Is very true. My favorite is somebody, I remember following somebody online and they had a fan, I'm putting it in quotes, where they were like,
Top of the rehab.
hi, yeah, your art's amazing. Can I get some art for free? And they were like, sure. They drew a stick figure with big boobs and some eyes. And they were like, here you go. That's not what I want. It's like,
The audacity.
well,
The
then,
audacity.
well, then the artist was like, well, here you go. Here are my rates. Da 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 da. And they blocked him. Like, blocked the person. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, what did you expect,
Mm-hmm.
dude? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's one thing to make a request. I mean, I'll do that sometimes also. Sometimes if I feel like practicing or like just like working on something and I feel like a little rusty, I need that. I'll send a note on so I make a journal entry, sorry, on one of my sites and say, hey guys, I am feeling kind of rusty. I'll take some requests real quick. Maybe any, Disney character or maybe a certain anime character. And I'll pick the five that I want to do. And then I'll just draw them. But they can't say, oh, I want you to make this character sitting down and holding a cup of tea and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, 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 no. Requests are you give me an idea or give me a character and then I'll work with it. That's different from a commission.
Can I
A
tell
commission
you?
and a request are not the same things. Requests are things you want to do just for fun, for
Uh,
the heck of it. Commissions are things that are a little more labor intensive. And by that I mean, for example, if someone, okay, for example, I got a commission yesterday,
yeah.
and he has he wants me to draw a character. He has her in specific poses, specific scenarios, specific scenes, and that's fine. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I stepped on my dog's tail. Can you repeat
You
that
broke
part?
up. I can't hear you.
Hold on. 1 second.
Hello?
Hold on. I'm here. I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Hold on.
What's happening?
Hold on. Hold on. See. Oh, now you're breaking up. Oh, gosh darn it. Hold on. Let me pause recording. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Going off of what you're talking about in terms of doing free commissions for just requests, just art requests, and people wanting more. I had someone have the audacity, someone we know, no, we're not naming names,
Mm-hmm.
want me to correct. They gave me a request, but they were like, I want you to correct what you gave me. I was like, but it's free. Yeah, I know, but you should be able to fix it anyway. And I was just like,
Excuse me?
I was like, no, I'm not even coloring it in. You wanted this character. I'm not changing it again to another character. This is just a fun stream request. Thank you.
That's like going trick-or-treating and then bringing your candy back and say, this isn't what I wanted. I want you to give me something else. Go to the store and buy something else because I didn't want Raisinets. I wanted, M&Ms or whatever. You don't do that, people. Free is free. Be grateful for what you get.
Yep.
And it sounds like that's the truth.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, you sent me your commission form. I'm gonna put it up here on screen. Your commission sheet is very clear and very crisp. So you wanna go over that with me?
Sure. So when doing commissions, it really depends on what you're trying to do. So, for example, the first thing. So the first thing actually I used to have on here was pencil sketches, and I have to zoom in. And so actually, before I go with the price guide, I guess I should explain to you something about pricing your artwork. Your artwork is you price it according to what you think is valued. If you think drawing a stick figure is worth $5, then you charge $5. If you think drawing a full color thing is worth $10, then that's what you're going to charge. Um, However, don't undersell yourself, but also don't oversell yourself. What I'm trying to say is when I started working doing conventions, I was way underselling, which is why I was selling a lot of commissions, but not making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine who actually has been doing this much longer than I, he's like, yeah, so your price sheet is way too low. I said, no, no. He's like, no, no, listen to me. You can either raise your prices and sell, maybe 3 or 4 commissions, or you can keep your prices low and sell 20 commissions for the same amount. It's like, oh. So he said, yeah, the quality of your artwork is not worth is worth more than the amount that you're charging. So people should be able to pay you more, and you shouldn't have to work as hard as you're working to fulfill like 20 commissions when you could have just been doing 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's something. But at the same time, it's like if you think your art is like worth $100, then don't be surprised if in your artwork is maybe not worth $100. People will not commission you. Some people will, maybe, but some people. So just be realistic about your work. Don't be so arrogant that that your art was the best and should be worth this amount of money. But don't be so humble to think that your artwork isn't worth the amount that it definitely should be worth. So
Yeah.
with that being said, this is like my price guide, I think, is version like 7.
Mm-hmm.
It went through a few revisions because of prices that I thought after a while, as I my ability to draw things improved and became more detailed, you would adjust your prices according to that. Like the price guide that I had back in 2009 is not the price guide that I have right now
Yeah.
because yeah, I feel like and you definitely should get better over time. As you get better at drawing, you should adjust your prices accordingly.
Yes.
So originally, yeah, so originally the first thing I had down was sketches, pencil sketches,
Mm-hmm.
and I was charging $20 for a pencil sketch because they can be very detailed or not as detailed. And you give an example of what a pencil sketch looks like, and I had my little butterfly girl here, Mari,
Mm-hmm.
so you can see that this is a pencil sketch as opposed to the one beside her, which is a pencil drawing. So I didn't want people to misunderstand what a sketch is versus what a drawing is.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the left is my cat girl Sugar, and that is a drawing that takes hours to
Mm-hmm.
do. So I'm definitely not charging someone $20 for that. This takes a lot of time, and this is what I mean when I say you base your prices on according to how much time you get to put into it. This takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm charging a bit more. And also, since it's pencil, I can't erase, which is why it takes more time. So I have to be very meticulous about what I'm doing. So, um, yeah, that's that. And so, scrolling up to the next one, digital sketches. Digital pencil sketches are a little cheaper because I am easily able to manipulate the canvas and erase and do what I need to do much easier with the digital sketch. So I charge a little bit less for that.
Mm-hmm.
Next is ink drawings,
Yep.
and this is again if it's hand ink drawings, it's a little more because again I can't make a mistake. You can edit, but so much, and usually with ink drawings, people actually get the original also.
Yeah.
So yeah, with digital inks, I charge again like a little bit less because I can adjust things. And in all fairness, I probably should be charging more for digital inks because I get ridiculously meticulous. Like, girl, stop! It's enough. Just stop. And that's something you guys have to understand also is that when you are doing commission, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be as good as you can do. But when you're doing digital sketches, you can go in and clean up every single line, every single corner. You're overdoing it. Don't do that. You'll burn yourself out. You have to learn how to not do that. So, um, and then the next thing we go to at the bottom, there's Miley, my little honeybee, and that's full color. Now, this is how to distinguish something. I think Yoga just said of how someone wanted her to color something, and she said she wasn't gonna do it because it was a gift. It was a
Yes.
request. So here, this is something I had to distinguish also. So if it's an image that I'm drawing and also coloring, that would be 75. However, from just coloring someone else's work, that down there is says at the bottom is $20 because coloring does not take as much effort for me anyway as penciling and inking. So if you're wondering why the cost of just coloring is the same as a pencil sketch, because generally speaking, I can color about the same speed as I can make a pencil sketch.
Mm-hmm.
You also notice it says $20 to $30 because again, people depending on what the coloring involves, it may be more and more time consuming depending on what it is. For example, when the My Little Pony phase happened and people were going
Yeah.
crazy about their yeah. So we had some. I got a ton of My Little Pony commissions, and some of them were just regular, a body color and maybe a regular color for a tail and a key marker. And it wasn't that difficult. But then I had some that were like, rainbow colored hair and goggles and fishnet stockings and the whole 9 yards. That's why I was like, okay, yeah. So for this, even though my prices are generally 20 to 30 for, I don't do them anymore. I think it was like $20 to $30 for. That was the average.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to charge you a bit more because this is gonna take me a while to get done. And she understood. She's like, no, I understand because the character was very busy. And again, don't feel bad asking for more when someone has a character that is very detailed, and especially if they want you, for example, if the character has spots. I've had a few people who said, okay, but this spot has to be exactly in the spot, and this mark has to be exactly this place, and
Oh
this thing.
God.
Yeah,
Yes, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
yeah.
Oh
Some
man.
people are very particular. Like this scar means this, it has to be exactly right here, and this line is. So when that happens, I'm like, okay, yeah. So I can't make a mistake here either. So I'm going to go ahead and charge you a little bit extra just because it has to be very specific. When
Mm-hmm.
people give me more free reigns, like, hey, I want you to draw this cat character, just make them smiling and happy and pretty. I'm like, oh, and you get the lowest amount of tax that I can give you for the character design because it's nice when you have freedom to move the character around to make the character in a way that that captures what the customer wants, but giving you the freedom to actually express that. So that's always nice.
That's very true.
Um, yeah, so there's full color, the cell color. The difference between full color and cell color, if you look at at the animation,
Yeah, yeah.
the shadows and colors, yeah, are very hard lines. Whereas when you're just doing like when I say full color with shadows, I mean like softer, natural shadows. That's all that means.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's about the same there because depending on what was going on in the image, it may be about the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, let's see. Next, I have chibis, which I get those pretty often. It's just a
Really?
fun
That's
size. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. People like these, especially when you go to conventions and they put their own character in this style, and 'cause they make really good keychains. So people they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna make
Oh,
this into a bookmark or a keychain." Yeah. And when I used to drag my printer and laminate around, that's something I got a lot of requests for was these. But I don't have my laminator. I mean, I don't have my printer anymore. So and honestly, it's very time consuming to do all stuff on site. So
it
that's another thing.
is. That
You're going to,
is.
yeah. If you're going to convention, and also it means that you won't be able to have enough time to how to explain this. When I was doing these commissions on site, it was crunch time. It meant that I had to go upstairs, color, draw, laminate, cut out. All this stuff had to be done like within hours. Whereas if I say, okay, now like what I say is like, okay, I'm gonna take this home and I'm going to email it to you. That means they can do whatever they want. They can cut it out. They can send it to a company to make them to an actual keychain. They
Mm-hmm.
can, as long as they don't resell it, then that's all I really say about that. But it gives them more freedom. They say if they ask me, hey, well, can you cut it out and laminate it for me? I'll say no problem. And I usually charge like $5 for that because it's not that big deal. Shipping is not that big for me.
Yeah.
But again, each person is different.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, if they want me to print it for them, they just request it. Say no problem, and they charge extra $5, and they're good to go. They get it when I get back home and work on it and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same thing with badges, which are nice. Oh, it's risky. And those are usually 3 by 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to print those on site also and give them a little badge holder. But now I've given the badge holder and just email it to them, and they cut it out whenever they print it out and cut it out whenever they get back to where they're going. And the last one are literary commissions. So when people have stories that they need me to write or they want me to write, then I will do that. And I usually charge per page.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 15 for the first page and $5 for each additional page. So there was at one point I was like doing a promotion for that also, just so I can get a feel for the environment. So yeah, that's only if you're doing literary things. Something that's also important about commissions, if you look at the right hand side, see commission notes. This is
Yes.
actually really, yeah. These are pretty much your terms and conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at my conventions, I specify how big, like image will be 8.5 by 11, roughly. Although some particularly couples could be slightly bigger or slightly smaller. I would email high resolution files about 300 dpi,
Mm-hmm.
so they get the information on what that's going to look like. Same thing for badges. If requested, this is important. So when you go in to do commissions for people that you're drawing something, what's important is like Yoko had said, someone wants to change something. What you
Yes.
do is what you have to say is if a sketch can be shown before completion of the commission. This is important
Really
because if
important.
someone,
Really, I'm just gonna
yeah, it's
emphasize that with you
yeah,
because I have a story about that. But go on.
yeah, it's really important because what happens is if you do a commission for someone and they do not ask for a request a sketch, they're like going back to someone said, "Oh, I want you to do this character of mine and just make them, do whatever," and then that's fine. You draw the picture and give it to them. They say, "Oh, actually, I really wanted to do this thing instead," but you've already penciled it, you already inked it. That's when you could just say, "Okay, well, I needed you to ask for a sketch before I finish it because now I've already started inking and I can't change the pose." Or if you really want me to change the post, I have to charge you additional a fee for that because it's going to take me to go back to, and I'm already finished what I've started so far. I have to go back and pretty much start over again. So I will charge you for the work that I've done thus far, and then I can go back and finish in what you requested and go back to it. But that's why you have to have that disclaimer in your terms of service. Otherwise, if you don't say that, if you don't specify that, then people say, "Oh, well, I didn't know that." You can say, "Well, no, it's right there on my commission guide sheet.
Yep.
It's literally right there." With regard to Sorry, if requested, a sketch can be shown before completion of commission.
Mm-hmm.
Upon viewing the sketch, you can request to make a minor edit, but I can only allow two. Any
Yeah.
further edits will have to be charged. Also, major edits like a new pose entirely that are not a result of an artist's error will be charged as well. If not requested, sketches will not be provided. Also, sketches must be requested prior to the start of the commissions.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, going back to that part where I said the edits. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
minor edit when they're making a sketch request, they say, "Oh, I want you to move her hand or increase her hip size or whatever." That's not that big a deal. But they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, actually, can you just change her position altogether?" That is very time consuming. If it's in the sketch phase, it really depends on what kind of mood I am. I may charge for, I may not charge you for, but it really depends on how much of a change you're asking of me, and just if it's something I can do without too much trouble or not. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, letting them know upfront that if you do not request a sketch will not be given. That's really important also. And again, it's right there in your terms of service. So if someone has a problem, oh, will you send me a sketch? Well, I also said that I'm just not gonna give you a sketch unless you ask for it. Because
Mm-hmm.
that takes time also to either screenshot or scan and show you the sketch. It takes time away from working also. So if you don't request it, you're just not going to get it, and you can't hold me accountable for it. So, no, you're fine. This is about copyright, and this is important also because if what you need to make sure people know it also in your terms of service is that the copyright of the artwork belongs to you. However, the characters do not. So, if you have someone who has their own character and they want you to draw them, they retain the rights to the character, but the copyright for the artwork itself still belongs to you unless the person purchases that copyright, in which case they own all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, for example, if someone asked you to draw like the character, obviously asking you to draw it in your style. So if for example, I had a customer who asked for a commission, and I made the commission, and then they said, okay, great, I'm gonna take this and make this send it to and make it into a cartoon. I said, well, wait a minute, that's not what you asked for. You requested something for your personal use. And I said, well, yeah, but now I kind of want to make it. And I was like, well, okay, but that's something else entirely. We discussed this. He eventually decided not to do it because it becomes a legal issue.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
yeah. That you want to say something about that?
Yeah. You covered a lot, actually. I did have something. How to basically when I commission somebody, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's really only one person I commit. I don't commission people that often, but I always get a sketch first because
Mm-hmm.
the one person I didn't get a sketch back from or heard anything from, it like took them a month. They made
Mm-hmm.
I just commissioned Yoko because I was like, oh, I want to know what the Yoko looks like in their style,
Mm-hmm.
and she looks like a velociraptor. It did not turn
Oh
out well.
wow.
Yeah, and she really undercharged. She really undercharged too. But like I requested two drawings, so of course she didn't make Yoko right, but she made her fan character right, which is what I requested because
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I really like your fan character, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have said like, oh man, you made her look like a raptor, sorry, could you adjust the neck? Or
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing I wanted to add. This is important to you. When an artist is not an artist, what's the word? When a
Commissioner.
customer, yeah, a commissioner, when a customer
Mm-hmm.
comes to you, the question number one is, where do they find you? And number two is, what do they need to give you? Because I know from experience, people don't understand that as an artist, we cannot read your mind. It's almost like the blind leading the blind. So,
Mm-hmm.
where can they find you, and what do you request from them to help them along with their
Okay, so before I get to that, I just want to add one more thing.
Oh,
The
yes.
last few things here. So the person who comes to me does not have a reference because a lot of people they don't, especially when
Mm-hmm.
the people are young. They're like, "Well, I have an idea for a character." I'll say, "Okay, no problem." I'll go to that page in my commission book, and I'll say, "Okay, so what are the characters' colors? What are they? Are they a boy or a girl? What are their shapes?" And I'll have all these things down in these little check boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll quickly draw like a really really rough sketch of what the character looks like. And while they're staying there, they say, "Okay, can you make this? If you do this." You do this, okay, and that, okay, that's great, that's great, that's okay, no problem. That helps out a lot because not everyone has a reference sheet And not everyone
Yes.
even has a physical copy of what they want their character to look like, which is why they're commissioning you. They may say, I have an idea for a character, but I don't know how to draw it. So can you draw it? That's your job. That is the job of a person who gets commissions for artwork. They're asking you to draw this character because they don't either can't draw it or they don't know how to express the character and see it in the way they want to see it. So they ask you to do it instead. So not everyone's going to have a physical image for you to go by. In which case, be prepared to do a quick sketch of the character and show them and ask them what you're looking for. And even well, sometimes I'll turn the book around and say, "Hey, you draw what you have an idea of, and I'll see what I can work with." And we'll work on the idea together. And then once they approve of the sketch, and again, this is a sketch, then I go forth with commission, and then and that's about it. So
Yeah,
what you I yeah
that's pretty good.
yeah so what you yeah so what you ideally want, ideally, if you're going to commission someone, try your best to have even if you just sketch it out yourself, you just draw a picture of what you want. You can talk to the artist, explain to them, I this is the best I can draw, but I don't really know how to make this character the way I want to. Or you can reference one of their characters. Hey, I really like your character, Yoko, and I want a character that looks like her, but the colors are different, and maybe her ears are round instead of pointed, and that helps out too. So the best thing, of course, is to have an actual image, a reference for the artist to go off of. And if not that, then just give a very good description and have them, present you with a sketch and see how it works out.
Yeah, I recall somebody said, "Give me a stick figure of what you want," and that worked out for them because what you and I don't always see is because we're visual people, we're artists. We can see a grander picture, whereas the customer doesn't have those skills. Not all of them have those skills, so they're not gonna know
Right.
exactly. Even some artists, like, they have a vision of what they see only, but they can't see what other people
Mm-hmm.
see as well. So by any means
Park the car in
possible,
the background.
oh, no worries, helping the artist in any way, shape, or form can get them going. Because when, like, I briefly worked doing some animation for some companies freelance, they give you everything. They give you the rules, the models,
Mm-hmm.
they give you character bibles, and
Mm-hmm.
those character bibles, you absolutely cannot go against the grain. You can't be unique or anything crazy. You're getting paid for a one-to-one recreation to create this animated adaptation or comic book adaptation of whatever they give you. And a commission work is very similar.
Yeah. Character Bibles are great. You don't have to have one yourself, but if you do have descriptions of your character's personality, for example, that really helps out too. So if you have, this a character who's, this character is quirky and bubbly, and they're very optimistic, you wouldn't expect to draw that character sad and depressed and defeated. It helps for the artist to be able to really try to get the essence of your character in visual form. If you can describe who your character is a little bit, an essay or anything like that, but just enough that they can get an idea. Okay, this character is, Luffy-esque or whatever. It helps you to even if you describe like, oh, he's kind of like Luffy. That helps a lot too, because everyone knows who Luffy is. He's not like a minor character. We all know who he is.
Of course.
So things like that help out too. So yeah. So even if it may seem like something, oh, they're not going to help, but no, we like hearing about your characters. Tell us about your characters. Your character is, tell us about his struggle. Tell us about how he had to jump in the ocean to save his sister and end up dying in the process. Tell us whatever. We enjoy it. We really do. Just don't tell us, give us an essay. Just tell us briefly about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I will have people at my table just like telling me like pretty much just a dissertation about who they are. Like, okay, yeah, mm-hmm. And it may be very interesting to hear, but eventually some people, especially conventions, they don't always understand that you actually have work to do too. So just be able to understand that if an artist is especially if you're at a convention and the artist continues working while you're talking, they're not being rude. Like, I promise they're not being rude. They do have to keep working though. So they may you just say, "Oh, even though I'm working, I'm still listening to what you're saying." Don't be offended by that. It's kind of all we have to do because we're at a convention. We have a finite amount of time. So we have to sort of keep working.
Yeah, yeah, that is very, very true. Um, what's my next question for you? Hold on, let me go. This is great. You're doing great. Um,
Thank you. I feel
so
so anxious.
oh no, like your price guide, everybody should have a price guide for heaven's sake. Like,
Hmm.
um, and that's a great guide. Here, my question to you is, what are some spots people find you? Because like for me, I like to commission people at conventions because like in your case, you're warm, you're bubbly, you're friendly and very professional, and it gives
I
me
am none of those things. People, I would chew your head off.
what?
I'm kidding. Those are-
No, but like you're very approachable, so it makes it easier for somebody to come up to you and say, "Can I remember a British guy was like, "Can you draw my character?" Like they were so sweet about it, and you know you the exchange was
I
great.
try. I really do try my best, especially when I'm at a table with people. I being presentable, like warm and friendly and open, and not being so cold and standoffish. It helps out a lot. But where you can find me is at a convention. Feel free to walk up to my table. I usually have like a bright, colorful banner. With my sweet shop. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm my sweet shop girls. English is hard. And on my table, so they're like pink, orange, yellow, green, purple, and blue. So it's pretty easy to notice me. Usually has my name on it also. Um, and that's where you can find me at conventions. When you're at home, however, you can commission me from like DeviantArt. I do have a I do have a DeviantArt page. I also have an FA page, which is probably where you're gonna find me more easily because I am not on DeviantArt as much as I used to be. And also, you can just email me. That's probably the best way. That's how I got commission actually the other day, is because he emailed me. Just email me at kittmouri@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to take commissions there also. So, yeah, or even my website, which is actually under construction, but I believe my contact info is there also. But yes, yeah, kittmouri.com. You can hop over there and see more examples of my work. And if you want to say, hey, I like your style, I want to commission you, just go ahead and send me an email.
That's awesome. Yeah. Uh, so we're gonna almost wrap it up, but I do have a few more questions for you. Where do you get
Hmm.
the most commissions? And if you have any suggestions for people who are starting out, where should they start? Because I know everyone's going to be different.
Right. So I get the most commissions at conventions. Typically, if now also I get most of them actually at conventions. Also, I get commissions right before conventions. People will say, "Hey, can I get a badge?" So it'll be ready by the time the convention starts. So that's one thing you can definitely do if you know that there's a convention like a Comic Con or an Anime Con or whatever. You can say, "Hey, do you need a badge for the commission?" I mean, like, or do you need a badge for the convention? Hey, I can do pre-order commissions that I could email to you, so you'll have your badge ready to go when you go walk through the doors.
Mm-hmm.
And by badge, I don't mean the badge that you get when you to show that you have access to the convention. Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
A badge where you have access to the convention is given to you by the convention. A badge that you do as for commission is just like showing your character off. So when you walk around, you can see, like, say, oh, well, who's that character? It's like, oh, it's my character. That's what those badges are for. It's pretty much like a self-identification. Um, the other way I get commissions are usually through my websites, my FA, my DA, and people will say, hey, I like your style. Are you open for commission? I say, yeah, I'm open for commissions, and then they'll either communicate with me over those sites or send me. I usually say ask them to send me an email so I can actually have an easy record of what's being said and what's being discussed.
Yes.
I don't ever recommend taking commissions over the phone. I think it's a terrible practice. You always want to have a paper trail. So yeah, if someone says, "Can I call you?" Say, "Oh, I'd rather do it through email." I cannot stress that enough. Never take commissions over the phone
I agree. I
because some people will
agree.
try to get that. Yeah.
I agree. I would
Um.
I would say if you ever do something over the phone, you have to have like a bigger business, and even then, you should have like a receipts of some kind, exchange email, and go from there.
Yeah. It's because either and not that people are necessarily nefarious. People's memories aren't the best. They may say, "Oh, I thought I said, well, no, you pretty much sure you said this thing," it could be an honest misunderstanding. But if you have everything through email, you could say, okay, no, you said, let's take a look. You said this. Oh my God, I don't remember saying that, but you're right. Okay, I'm sorry about that. And you can avoid misunderstandings and mishaps by just having a paper trail through an email or like some sort of like even the private messages you have on the website you're on. That's fine also. Just make sure you have a way of keeping track of what's being said and what's being agreed upon.
Yes, 100% agree. Um, so with that, let me just check my list. Are there any other websites that you commission on? Because before you answer, like I looked up VGen, which is like a newer artist commissioning website. I noticed a lot of VTubers and PNG tubers get their art from there. Pixiv, which that's more of a Japanese art website. It's like Japanese DeviantArt,
Yeah,
and they're very nice.
yeah,
They're
that's
very nice on that platform.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then this new one, it's not that new, but it's newer compared to DeviantArt, which is like 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Not Pixiv, sorry, Artistry, and I guess people go there because they get more of a profit. And when you commission through websites like Artistry or even Etsy, some websites like Etsy will take a percentage. If you order from DeviantArt, you guys exchange emails and you don't have the fees, right?
Mm-hmm. If you were working from a site like DeviantArt or FA, even Facebook, I forgot Facebook is a good one also, depending on how wide your network is. Although I would advise separating your Facebook personal account from your Facebook business
Oh,
account. You don't want to have those two
absolutely.
things overlapping. But yeah, when
Absolutely.
you do like one of those types of sites, you're not paying a percentage to anyone. Like Facebook isn't getting a cut, DeviantArt's not getting a cut. You get to negotiate the prices, and you get 100% of the profits that way. So any of those sites are good. Katie, what are you doing? Any one of those sites are always a good safe bet. Um, yeah, because you don't want. Oh, speaking of being safe, something you also want to do is like not taking things like personal shit. Um,
Oh yeah, that's so
yeah,
important. Go ahead. Go on with the
yeah,
taking things personal part because oof.
yeah. I definitely recommend PayPal because PayPal is actually one of those sites where if for example, someone, let's say you commission someone and they just never give you the commission, PayPal will give you your money back. You can say, hey, PayPal, here's the proof of the stuff that I ordered. I never got it. I've sent email after email to this person not responding. And then PayPal will review the evidence and say, okay, yeah, it looks like you got stiff. Here's your money back. So it's always good. Oh, and then speaking of people in general, one way you could tell if a commissioner is reputable is by looking at their gallery and looking at the people who are following them and looking at the art they have done for people already. A person who is doing commissions, who has probably been doing this for a while, should definitely have a full gallery of artwork for you to look at. Um, and they should have people who have, you should see their artwork in other people's galleries, for example. It's kind of harder to determine that nowadays because a lot of sites like Instagram, for example, you'll see a person has like a billion followers, and a lot of those followers are bots. And
Yeah.
it's
And with AI, it's
yeah,
getting
right.
tricky.
Being AI, yeah, it's like you have to just sort of be aware. Um, Especially like I said, looking at someone who has a repertoire of art in their gallery, that's very helpful to know this person's probably legit. If this person goes to conventions, if you see their names like on and having been to conventions, usually you can look at for example, at like Anthrocon, for example, you can look at previous years and at artists who have attended, and if that person's name is on that list of art attending artists, then you can say okay, they're probably legitimate. So, and just this word of mouth reputation. Sometimes people who have bad reputations will get spread around like, okay, this person, yeah, this person is no good. They don't send their commissions out in a timely manner. They don't communicate with people, um, and those people are red flags. So it's kind of tricky, but
Yes.
yeah, make sure you. I would recommend using PayPal. No one should ask you for cash. If they're like, okay, yeah, send me, $50 cash. Like, no, 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 absolutely not. No cash, no money orders, no check, none of that. The only thing you should be
Yeah.
sending is Yeah, never send cash unless you're at a convention. If you are at a convention and someone is there, get their like they usually have business cards. Get their business cards, and you can pay them in cash, and just make sure that they you hold them to make sure your art gets done. If they are at a convention, it means that they are there doing business, and they do not want the reputation of having someone say, "Hey, yeah, I commissioned this person right here, and here's their website," and they didn't give me my stuff because word gets around in the art community, and you will be a pariah. And, yeah,
Yo,
so
for real,
they at a
it
convention,
is
yeah,
wild. They will go
at a
after you.
convention, they really do. It's not even. They will come after you. They will make sure you're held accountable. If you are at a convention, it's generally a safe bet to go ahead and uncommission someone, even if you name. This is the only time I will say you pay cash or a debit card or whatever. It's at a convention, and that's pretty much it. If you're online, then just PayPal, and that's one thing I can recommend is PayPal. Not even Zelle, just PayPal. But at conventions, actually at conventions, then it's fine to go ahead and pay. And the reason being is because they had to pay to get that table. Those tables aren't free unless they are in an artist, excuse me, in an artist alley, which case they might be free. But for the most part, you're paying A for the table, B for transportation and getting there, possibly hotel and lodge. It's expensive going to a convention. So that's also, I guess, something you should consider also. If you're actually going to be a commissioner going to a convention, consider room sharing. Consider going to a local
Yes.
convention to read the room. Maybe not going to the. I was the biggest one my first time because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Um, I stayed at the hotel by myself, and I didn't break even. I'll tell you that much. But
Oh
it was a good
yeah.
experience. I learned a lot from it. But yeah, uh, yeah. So just do the research before you go off to these things. Make sure you budget also. If you're gonna go buy, give yourself a budget. Don't go over that budget. It's easy to spend a lot at conventions without realizing you spent a lot at conventions. So
Hmm.
find your favorite artist. Walk around the convention hall. Find you don't have to buy something right away. You can actually take a business card and keep walking around and say, "I like this art a lot, this art a lot," and go to those three people and go back and commission them. You don't have to commission everyone you talk to, by the way. Also,
Yeah.
they yeah, it's that I will say, not all of us, but some of us will be like, "Hey, so here's my books and blah 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 blah. So do you want to pick one up?" And it's it kind of subtly pressure you into, maybe making a small purchase or leaving a donation or whatever. Don't feel pressure, guys. It's okay. We will not. Well, rather, we should not be offended if you don't buy our stuff. It just means that you're not into what we're selling, and that's not a big. No, not everyone's going to be interested in what we're selling. It's not a big deal. Just it's okay to look and say, okay, thank you, and keep walking.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Don't feel
Yeah.
guilty
And
about
never.
that.
Yeah. Never feel guilty because if you make a out of guilt purchase, we've run into people who are
Yep.
like, I spent all my money because this one person said
Yep.
that they needed food, and then long story short, that person was
Yeah.
a liar. So.
Yeah. I mean, scammers exist too, and not everybody at convention is on the level. So, especially people who live in the areas who don't have to pay for a hotel or a room or whatever, they can
Mm,
just come in there and just But people who are actually at the tables, who are selling at the tables, usually they're legit. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, those people are fairly reliable. Um, but yeah, that's about it, I think.
That's
Um,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
honestly, like you covered everything that I was like gonna ask you. You like bam, 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 boom, boom, boom. So, all right,
Thank you.
Kit Mori, the professional artiste. Check out her work. I'm gonna put her links in the. Sorry, I'm gonna put her website and DeviantArt page. Do you want me to put your DA or not DA? FA or
Yeah, that's actually the page I use the most is FA. Speaking of FA, well, actually, and DA also, don't be afraid to say no when it comes to taking commissions,
oh
because I've said no
yeah.
to people plenty of times.
All right, Kittmouri, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to leave her work, her website, in the description below. You can find her at DeviantArt and FA. And any closing thoughts?
No, thanks for having me. It was fun. And if you actually, yes, all I got. Sorry, I'm not good at interviews. I'm trying my best.
No, I think you
I'm
did
more a writer than a talker.
awesome. I think you did a great job. Well, thank you again, guys. check out, like, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to learn about other artists. Just leave a comment. All right? Say bye, everyone.
Bye. Follow me on YouTube.
Whoop, whoop.